Thank you. I can't hear anything.
All right, everything's going great so far. We got all the
I can hear
sound and
now.
everything. I'll do the entire thing all over again. Just kidding, I won't. But this is Star Trek Discoverage. I'm your host Caliban. That's your over there. That's your co-host Ella Pearson, and everything's going great. Fully recovered, I think, from Mission Chicago. Absolutely. I want to talk about Mission
100%.
Chicago, but I'm going to introduce our guest first. Back on the show tonight, she's my co-host on the Just Enough Trope podcast. She's also the host of the Sailor Noob podcast, and she's a frequent enterprising individuals at Discoverage guest. It's Mika and Hana. Mika, welcome back to Discoverage.
Hello. Thank you
Mika,
for having me.
are you
Yes.
are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now hear
Okay.
you. Okay, all
All
right.
right. I think we have a bit of a delay.
Okay, we do have a bit of a delay. That's okay. It's you're so Just Enough Trope is a pop culture podcast. Do we have to start talking about Star Trek really quick? I want you to tell me your thoughts on the fact that Warner Brothers Discovery is exploring an overhaul of DC Entertainment.
I'd
I'll
say it's
wait.
about time.
Yeah, yeah. You think so?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I say start with management. That's what I say.
Yeah.
um because like it's just you hear all these stories about all the toxicity on all these different sets. Like Justice League was just a garbage fire, and
Yes.
I mean that's the one that most comes to mind, but like a lot of the stars having issues too. Like we just heard some recent stuff about Ezra Miller
Yes.
getting a restraining order, which
Yeah.
is not cool. Um so yeah, I think setting the tone for you should be professional and treat everybody well, and then also have, I don't know, I think a Kevin Feige type would be a good way to go. I don't know that they have figured that out yet for some reason,
They've had a
because
couple and got rid of him. I think.
I guess they didn't feel like they did a good enough job. I
Yeah.
don't know.
All right. Well, one production doesn't have that problem, and that is, of course, Star Trek. Everybody is great on Star Trek. Everybody loves each other, loves working together. Nobody's in the news in any bad ways. So hopefully we'll just keep rolling. And maybe DC and Warner Brothers can take some advice from that, take a little bit of that to them.
Yeah, that would be great.
All right. So let's talk about Mission Chicago. I'm going to throw it to you guys and put it in your capable hands because this computer is going upside down like a goldfish that ate too much. So while I dig through all this stuff in the Matrix and the code and everything, you guys tell me about your experiences last weekend at Mission Chicago, the official Star Trek convention.
Do you want to go first,
Well,
Ella?
well, I was going
No,
to say
I
I
put
want
you
to hear
guys in
from you
charge. Take
first
care of it.
because I because I was so busy all weekend. I hardly saw either of you guys. I saw you guys like 3 times, and you had to come. You had to come to my place of work. You had to visit me.
Yes, but I liked coming to visit you.
We didn't get to see each other in person, so it was fun.
Yes, it was fun. I mean, yeah, it was great. You got to see a lot of really interesting people, big stars from Trek. Saw George Takei for the first time. That was fantastic. Yeah, I think I cried twice the entire weekend when George Takei was talking about his experience during World War II, and then when Kate Mulgrew was talking about her experience with her mom and dementia, and it was gosh, yeah, but just lovely people, and I could hear them talk, tell any number of stories. So yeah, that was great. Some highlights for me. We saw James Cromwell too, which like he was fantastic. Just like so much experience in Hollywood and like a real like I mean social justice warrior in the flesh. So that was kind of cool.
He got a hot L
Um,
Baltimore question. There's no like hot
yeah,
L Baltimore stands out there, is there?
I don't
I
know,
mean, here we
man.
are at a convention for a 55-year-old TV show, but like, yeah, there's some real James Cromwell fans in that audience.
There were, and they were talking about Babe, the pig,
Well, yeah,
and I was like, I mean, okay,
I
yeah,
like
I know.
He's a cool guy. He's I think he's what do I want to say? He's got a fully realized personality. I was going to say strong personality. I don't think that he's like a strong personality though, but I like the fact that he tells all these stories and he acts and pretends to be other people for a living, but he also is like, somebody's like, do the thing, say the thing, and he's like, I'm not going to say the thing because I don't want to be known as the guy that says the thing. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
It does.
I went and saw Bruce Campbell talk about his when his book came out. It was a while ago, and he took questions from the audience. And of course, somebody's like, "Hey, can you say groovy?" And he's like, "Listen here, am I your little monkey? I'm not going to say groovy for you. You got $50,000? I'll say groovy. If we're going to do a scene, fine." So it's like, he'll let Sam Raimi throw blood all over him and throw him around the room, but he's got that self-respect.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I really enjoyed seeing the second ever public screening of Star Trek: The Motion Picture, which
yes,
it's funny. We'll talk about a little later how we were talking about the motion picture over the weekend, and it 100% changed my view of the motion picture. Like this is it's on Paramount Plus now. I think it's gonna have a limited run in theaters, and so if you can see it, and you go, oh, it's the motion picture. Oh, they're looking at the Enterprise. It is a completely different film. I mean, it's the same film, but like it looks amazing. What they've done to it, they've made it look incredible, and without like changing the effects, they've just given it the look that that apparently Robert Wise wanted for the film. That he originally sort of conceived for it. So I think it was a really it changed my entire opinion of the motion picture.
I liked it more as well. I mean, I'd seen the motion picture like once, and I was like, yeah, I didn't really care for that. But, and so I had kind of a bad opinion about it. But seeing it this time, I mean, the colors are so much brighter and richer, and I think that the edits that they did make and the changes that they made this story more clear. Yeah. It still very much feels like a 70s sci-fi show.
Oh, you can't
sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it, things are like, okay, we're looking at the ship for a long time, but which is one of my favorite parts. Don't get me wrong, but they did cut it down a little bit and kind of make it more clear as to what that's trying to convey. So I appreciated it more now too. Also, plus I have now seen all of TOS. So I have a much better appreciation of the characters and their relationships with each other, which, let's face it, makes a difference.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Anything else you guys wanted to mention? People that you got to talk to, or lifelong dreams realized?
I mean, this was my first time. I was working with Star Trek Convention, so that was very special. I think I've mentioned it like once before on the show that I work with John Frazier over at Star Trek Unlimited. So that was very special, very fun. Got to talk to a lot of people, and the booth was super, super busy. Yeah. And I was basically there all weekend, but it was fantastic.
That's cool. Well, we're still sort of all coming down from the high and still getting ourselves back together. Obviously, we're having a little bit of technical problems. This place is a mess because we're moving the studio and sort of remodeling. And so anyway, we had to be here to talk about Picard and do Discoverage because that's what gets me out of bed every week. So we're doing that right now tonight. We've seen the 6th and 7th episode of the 2nd season of Star Trek Picard. We were off last week because of the con. We're talking about both 2 of 1 and Monsters tonight and talk all about them. And first, as always, a warning. We're setting a course for the spoiler zone, listeners, so be warned. We're glad you've decided to join us, but if you have not seen these 2 episodes, spoilers are incoming. The official synopsis for 2 of 1 is, with the help of Talon, Picard and the crew infiltrate a gala on the eve of a joint space mission to protect one of the astronauts they believe to be integral to the restoration of the timeline, Rene Picard. Corey makes a startling discovery about her father's work. That episode was written by Cindy Appel and Jane Maggs and directed by Jonathan Frakes. And the episode synopsis for Monsters is, Talon ventures inside Picard's subconscious mind to help wake him from a coma and face both his darkest secrets and his deepest fears. Seven and Raffi go in search of Girardi, whom they fear has succumbed to the monster inside. And Rios struggles to hide the truth of who he really is from Teresa. That episode was written solely by Jane Maggs and directed by Joe Menendez. And I should mention that obviously we're just kind of like serial. We're going through episode by episode. The first episode tonight was kind of the second, I think, part of the one that we talked about 2 weeks ago. And this episode, Monsters, introduces a few new characters, which we'll talk about. Right now, of course, it brings back the Ito Agahire as Guinan. It introduces James Callis, familiar possibly to fans of Battlestar Galactica, as the psych evaluator, and apparently as Maurice Picard, who we've never seen in this way before. And also introduces Jay Carnes playing Agent Wells. And we will talk about Agent Wells a little later in the show. What did you guys think? What did you think about these episodes? Let's talk about the first one, and then we'll talk about the second one. We may end up just going scene by scene, because honestly, I got a lot to say. And once again, we've got another co-host here to help us out. Once again, permission to treat the show as hostile. I have a couple opinions, but I want to hear what you guys think.
At least you asked permission.
Well, you know, that's just decorum.
With peace and love, why the karaoke?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I am right there with
great,
you.
Looked great, but
yeah, there's a lot going on.
Confused.
There's a lot going on. That song apparently was supposed to originally be a Nina Simone song, "Feeling Good," I think she made the right call. Alison Pill was like, it's like a song about like the civil rights movement. I don't know if like I'm the person to sing that.
Oh,
and so
good point.
They got Pat
Fantastic
Benatar right
check.
in. Yeah, Shadows of the Night instead. So yeah, good choice there.
Okay. Yeah,
Mika,
I think I agree with your sentiment, Ella. Like, I think I literally was like, why is this happening? You know, like, she looks fantastic. That red dress, I love it. Amazing.
With lipstick to match.
Yes, of course.
Essential.
Right. And yeah, it looked great, but like, I just was like, why is this it was just a weird, like, I don't know why we have to do a heist thing anyways. And then it just didn't seem like it was anything I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
And I just felt like there was, I guess, in both of these episodes, I felt like there was just a lot happening in like every scene.
Yeah.
And a lot of things that we are unpacking. Like, just the conversation, one of the conversations at the party with Picard and what's the Gary Sevens character's name?
Talon,
thank you. And like where she's like staring at Renee and she's like, we can't go over there, we can't do it. And he's like, you know, she's talking about fear and all this stuff, and he's like, well, sometimes fear is just fear, and it's not telling you anything. It's not telling you anything that you're not No, sometimes fear is telling you something subconsciously. That is a thing.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with this assessment.
Here's the mind killer.
Also, like, I Orla Brady's doing a great job. I for the most part, 99% I really love her American accent, but I don't think you can say I'm a ghost without sounding Irish. It's just, for a second she sounded really Irish. So just talking about ghosts maybe brings that out. There's a lot going on, and like the more. You know, I've talked about this in weeks and years past on this show. Like, the more that we get into this new area of Trek, I think it's good that we are bouncing Trek off of. And this whole season has been doing this. Like, it's an action movie, it's a sci-fi dystopia, it's a comedy thing. You know, they're really trying these things out. And something that they kind of tried tonight was, what if this was like a boring procedural, like a CBS show, to the point where 34 minutes earlier, like they do this like countdown that serves no purpose other than you learn it sophomore year in like your screenwriting class. Do you know what I mean? Like, it didn't serve to, we're all on board. We don't need to be sold on this being something that we need to pay attention to. And also it was disappointing because you've got a lady that was on 24. Like, if you tried to do a 24 thing, we could have done a fun thing with that. So trying to create all this tension for like, what's going to happen? Well, Picard's going to get hit by a car, and then we're going to explore that later.
Tesla.
It just, yeah.
It was right.
You've had to
'Cause he
answer
drives
for a
a
lot of
Tesla.
things, Elon Musk, but this is the biggest one.
Oh my
He
gosh.
hit Grandpa with the Tesla.
Yeah.
I will never
And then
forget
Grandma
him.
got run over by a reindeer.
Yeah. So we're sort of building up to that, but the way that we build up to it, it just happens at the end, and it's like, oh no, I don't know. I guess maybe it's the fact that we can't really sit with, the danger of what has happened. Then the next episode is all about that, and I'm not convinced that there is any danger. I don't understand what the stakes are. If an old robot can get hit by a car and live or die, but that's the second episode. Let's save that to talk about in a little bit.
It's like, if we're gonna do the bit, if we're gonna do the heist bit, love a heist bit, okay, yeah. love a daytime crime procedural, but then like, I want to see some commitment to the bit. I want to see the full heist episode. I want to see the full crime procedural, what happened to Rios episode. You know what I mean? I want
I agree. If you're going to do it, just do it all, completely, 100% commit to it, like you're saying.
So you mentioned Rios. Let's talk about Rios. Let's do a little zoom in on him. I think Mika had brought this up off the air earlier, but Rios is staying, right?
He's totally staying.
See, you brought that up, I think that's a good observation. But like, I think any one of these characters could stay. Is there like a short straw lottery here? Is one of these characters going to stay behind? Because Seven, what was going on, had no presence in this episode at all. Like, had like an 80-yard line in at one point. I don't know what was going on with not having Jerry Ryan in it, but Seven is like, enjoys being back here. It's possible that the Romulan kid,
Elnor.
It's possible that Elnor, he's there or he's not there. Raffi is she's having trouble. She's not dealing well with the future, and so I don't know. Do you guys think that we'll lose a character? One of them will stay behind.
100%.
So who's your pick?
I think that's going to happen.
Rios.
I agree.
Okay.
Maybe that's boring.
So what about
Because you're not going to lose Seven, don't you think? We're not going to lose Seven.
It would be. I think a lot of people would be pissed if we lost Seven.
This is the second show in a row that I've brought up Carpenter Street, the episode of Enterprise, where they go back in time and do a cop thing. But Seven doing a cop thing in the modern day, where she has...
That's a whole show.
Yeah, and she gets her implants back. So she's got Borg implants, she can, drive a car without, with her mind or something. But you pair her up with that's a spinoff right there. I think Rios...
That's the daytime crime procedural.
Yeah, I would watch that.
Right, yeah.
I would too.
I think
I'd
Rios...
be here at 4 p.m.
I think Rios is his own great-great-great-great-grandpa.
Oh, no.
I think that they're going to do something like that.
Uh-oh.
That's unsettling. Although I feel like, isn't it also a little weird that Picard is talking to his ancestor and just, I don't think anything is going to happen between them.
But no.
But
who, by the way,
I don't.
That is also somehow both French and British at the same time. Her passport says that she's a French national and she has a British accent. And it's like, that happened because of the casting of Patrick Stewart. You had 400 years to explain how we got there, and you just pick an Australian actress who's using a British accent who is also French somehow. Like, America is not 400 years old. So all of us, we were something else 400 years ago. That's how, like, time works. But this lady is just, like, also, for some reason, a British French person. It's just like...
Just right across the channel,
Yeah. All right. So anyway,
quick little ferry ride.
There's bigger problems than that, but yeah. So they go through this heist episode, which I think we agree could be a little more heisty.
Heistier.
We're heistier. I'm sorry. We are exploring the idea of, I guess, Agnes, exploring this darker side of herself, which is. Do you think that her hanging out with the Queen is weird or cool?
Define hanging out. Like before, when they had two different bodies,
just
or like now when they're together and
spontaneous karaoke, property damage at a local LA night spot, that kind of thing. Borg encryption, the typical Friday night.
I would have loved like a line that was like, I minored in musical theater at the super special science university that I went to,
Sure.
Give some sort of explanation.
Like, I missed that so much.
Yeah, there's a couple
before the karaoke.
There's a couple things that I felt like could have had a little setup. There's something in my notes later on. It doesn't matter. But like there some things they explain relentlessly. When Seven and Raffi, I keep forgetting Raffi's name tonight. Raffi get back to the ship and they're like, okay, we gotta find the Girardi. So, and they're like, oh, you mean we have to find Girardi, or otherwise the entire timeline's going to be done? And if we don't do it by morning, she turns into a pumpkin. Like they keep every week they keep explaining, over and over again the stakes. It's like, no, I understand the stakes. And then they have things like she's just going to sing, but clearly because she can sing well, and they thought it would be cool. But you're right. Like, what if that? If she had mentioned that she had always, wanted to sing, or she had felt like, because I don't feel like Girardi is like a character that's locked inside and needs the Borg Queen to like, dun, 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 like, do you know what I mean? But like that seems to be where they're going.
Give me old razzle dazzle.
At least we get like every episode gets a Bechdel test pass because they're just basically talking like to each other like about her, right? So we've got that.
Yeah.
But I don't know where this is going. But it's not over yet.
I also don't know, like, she's going out on the town. She needs endorphins. She's searching for endorphins.
Girls.
So, like, that's fine. She goes to a bar. That's fine. She looks around, and then she's like, I'm not interested in any of this. Smash. What? Like,
your endorphins get up when you break a window.
It would make more sense if she would just like walking down the street and just smashing windows and dancing as she went. Or why did she go?
Were you guys not doing that all weekend in Chicago? Was that not what we went there to do?
They can't prove anything. Okay. It's a family show, I guess, even though they say the F word. So it's like why doesn't she just go score some crack or something like that, you know what I mean? Or have an orgy. Like she goes to the club and the guy's like, hey, what's going on? She'd be like, you and you. Giorgio would have had an orgy.
I think so.
Yeah.
Probably.
Why did you say crack first?
Yeah, or both.
And then hook up with the bouncer.
Crack first, then orgy. Right. That's what I learned in finishing school. Let's talk about, let's go back to your original point, Mika, about the depiction of Renee Picard and her struggles with mental health and like with her job. And I think that something that Picard has run into, and I think modern Trek runs into sometimes, is they are tackling these more modern themes, which I think is good.
Mm-hmm.
I have been thinking about this a lot recently. The idea that older Trek, TNG, TOS, but humans are perfect, and it's the aliens that we find that represent humans that have problems. And that's how you do it, because Gene Roddenberry just wanted, the Federation to be perfect. And I think that they're getting more open to saying, there's no way the Federation is perfect. People are going to have problems. Somebody like Raffi is going to find herself slipping through the cracks of society, with nobody to reach out to. And I think that's okay. But I think they still have really old ideas and kind of prosaic ideas about how to deal with mental health.
Yeah.
100%. I want to see this astronaut succeed and do this mission and do this incredible thing. But this woman clearly is not doing well. And NASA doesn't have people she can talk to, or just delay the mission, or there's a backup, or something like that. And she's in a position where they're like, no, you really have to do this. And she's like, I don't know if I want to do this. You need to do it. And I know that the way that they've written it has, made it so she does it. And if she doesn't do it, things will change. But it's don't write that. Don't write a thing where the character who was like my dad when I was growing up is yelling at his ancestor that she has to do this thing, even though that she's scared,
Right.
I'm not sure I bought his thing about fear, like you said before.
I don't know. And I don't think that it's necessarily a healthy idea to introduce to anybody in the audience who might be struggling with mental illness. Like, I think that sometimes fear is, a good indicator that, hey, something is not going well with me. I need to talk to somebody. I need to do something. And I need to reach out. And I think that that's okay. And yeah, there's the saying, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. And yeah, sure.
Why didn't they go to World War II?
Right. But also, anxiety is a real thing. And sometimes emotions and thoughts get the best of you. And that's okay.
Yeah.
I also don't really, I have trouble with the way they depicted Renee's, like, during the flight simulation. Like, I understand that she was frustrated and upset, and she was, clearly not happy with how it was going. But for her to physically freak out and punch the air and everything and like scream in front of her coworkers, I just think that would happen way more internally. And then later, when she had her session with Q, she could talk about how she was feeling and why she was feeling that way. And
have you watched For All Mankind at all?
I haven't.
For All Mankind is, it's by Ronald D. Moore. It's like an alternate universe space race. So the Russians get to the moon first, and now America has to try to catch up, but then it becomes kind of a Cold War in space thing. And one of the big aspects of the show is female astronauts, like very early. It's a PR stunt for the government, but the end effect is that, there are like equal men and women like on these flights. And the women, like, they deal with, they show in the show how they deal with just discrimination and sexism and stuff like that. But like there's a certain, I don't know, they're like all fighter jocks, and like pilots, so they have a certain way about them. And so you're right, like it would be, Joel Kinnaman would be like, well, looks like I screwed this one up. And then he would go home and like, pour a glass of, whiskey and then break something and be mad about it. I don't think that's healthy, but I think that but it shows a little more inner life in terms of, we're just like criticizing this as actors now, I guess, just in terms of how, there's a work her and then there's like the her that like comes out later. I don't know. I think there's so many characters in this show. We have so little time with each of them that everything has to be like on the surface immediately. She's frustrated, so she's got a problem with this. She doesn't think she could do it. And what if she could? What if she could do it? And what if the problem was that Data was going to hit her with a Tesla, or that Q was trying to stop her? I just don't like the fact that like she has to, her grandpa from 400 years in the future comes back and goes, "You can do it." Like, what if she could just do it?
And then that's why she does it.
Why are we doing any of this? Who cares? Why is this happening?
And then she's like, "Oh, this person I don't know, he believes in me."
Thanks, weird old stranger.
Yay! Yeah. Like, what if it was like, if you're gonna, take all these tropes and everything, what if they decided to do like it's a quantum leap, and
he leaps into his ancestor, who's a woman. That's weird and horny, like Quantum Leap used to be.
I mean, I wasn't going there, but I was thinking like he, had to save her somehow, like so he had to leap in front of her and get hit by the car.
Also, the cops
why did he get hit by a car?
The cops are on their way to Soong's house, right? Like 400 witnesses. The Tesla creamed that guy. Like there was he's not getting away with that.
No. And then the FBI shows up at Guinan's.
Okay,
what?
That's the other episode. We got time to get there still.
I know.
Let's talk about the end.
Before we move on,
Yes.
I think everything that you guys have said is so like correct. But I do want to say just about him talking about fear in that way. It's like sometimes, like you're afraid to go to like the grocery store, and it's like everything's gonna be okay if I go to the grocery store and get to buy ingredients for dinner. And so I think that him being like, oh, fear, smear, right, is like, it's like, it can come across either way. Like you guys are 100% right, but it's also like, I think that you're also right that she could do it. We know that she can do it. We know that she's capable.
Yeah.
But Q's like planting these ideas in her mind and making her more afraid, and she doesn't need to be.
Which that is weird as well. I mean, it's just something that happens in a show, but in a world where we need to destigmatize mental illness, and we need people to realize that it's okay to do stuff like that. To have John Delancey be like, "Oh, maybe your mother never loved you." It's so weird and campy. I don't really get it. And I agree with you 100%. Like, astronauts are people. People feel anxiety, not just about the fact that they're riding a giant bomb up to the moon or to Europa, but also just about, going down the street to the store sometimes. But I would like to think that we would get to see their coping mechanisms, either positive or negative, the way that they get to the positions, where they are. And when you think about something like Star Trek 4, which this desperately wants to be, like every moment of this is trying to be Star Trek 4, they go back in time and they meet Jillian Taylor, a woman who all she needs is a spaceship. If she knew spaceships existed, she would have gone out and got a spaceship and saved those whales. You know what I mean? Like, if the people from the future are coming back to fix like the sins of humanity, and they meet this amazing, incredible woman that helps them do it. She's the expert of the 20th century that they need to complete this and to save Earth. And so I just like that she's a new part of the team. Whereas Renee Picard is just something for them to fix by going, "Oh, look up and there's a fear and stuff," and just giving her a speech. But again, she's just one sliver of this pie that is cut so many different ways that we'll get to, because here's a new piece. Apparently, Isa Briones is a clone, one of many clones. And they just dropped that with one of my favorite hacky things. She does a Google search on her dad. You know that scene where the character sits down and does a Google search? Well, she Google searches her dad and finds out all this information. And she doesn't remember her past. She doesn't remember like these things that she sees. And apparently, like, every single one of them had a mythological name. He would run out of mythological names at one point.
But after it's so long,
he'd be at Disney names at one point. I had to let Elsa go today. Or Vanellope Van Schweetz is really glitchy. I don't know.
Had to send her the farm.
Where are we going?
God.
Where are we going with this? And we will talk. Let's bring in something from the next episode real quick, because it's important. So we find out that Talon is a Romulan, which I guess we probably shouldn't be surprised, but I didn't think about it. And so she could, be the one from this universe, this timeline. How do you think that Corey and Dr. Soong fit into this then? Because we have kind of a plausible explanation for Talon / Orla Brady's presence here. What's going on with the Doctor and his daughter? His presumably human cloned baby daughter.
I guess I just assumed that different universe, but like they're kind of the same. Kind of. They're like different versions of themselves.
Yeah.
Like they were here, right?
Yeah.
And then our other characters came to whatever year this is in California. I can't remember. It's like a couple years from now.
2024.
Right.
Yeah.
2024. So I guess that's what I just assumed. Unless is it like Q has some like knowledge of them and so he put them here or something? I don't know.
I believe you. I totally think that you're right, and I think that makes sense. I just keep vacillating between it all kind of makes sense in the timeline and their new sort of timeline, and it's all just like a big Cupid situation. You know what I mean? Like, Q has done this before. Like, he's created entire worlds where, Worf was not a merry man, but like he was like in that world. And so, you know how it works. We've got a cast that's all contracted to be on this show. And so we take them and we put them in there. And even though I don't know why we're going back to Gary 7 after like 54 years, it is, I think, a smart way to get a character that has no right being in this time on this planet. It actually kind of makes sense to get a version of her here that way. But in between that and then having like Guinan here, and like, it just kind of feels like assembling, I don't know, it's just a TV show, I guess. I just got to remember it's just a TV show.
I think they just, I don't know. It's
or Ella's falling apart watching me fall apart. Yeah.
I am.
Well, I can't give up because we're not done. We've got a second episode, Monsters, which picks up in a very interesting place, very confusing and intriguing place, where Picard is talking to an unseen person who is revealed to be a character played by James Callis. Although any Battlestar fan is like, oh, it's James Callis. I just know the voice. I know the voice.
Yeah.
Mika, did you recognize him right away?
I did not. I was like, I know this person. This is bothering me. And I think you told me after the episode was over.
Yeah. I'd have to see his O face to know if it's him or not.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
A lot of his dialogue on Battlestar is,
But I feel like, gosh, I wanted him to be able to do something more because I think he's a great actor. But
yeah,
it's kind of interesting to have him play Picard's dad.
Yeah, and
so,
to choose to show that character, yeah.
Do we know what happened to Picard's mom?
Oh, I thought we were done talking about mental health.
It sounds like I don't know for sure.
There's no if I go to Memory Alpha, there's not going to be bad news.
Go and tell me what you find. I would love to know what they're doing to it. I mean, with it, but no, I got the impression.
She's going right now.
I got the okay. It's blank. I got the impression. I already looked. I got the impression that it's a situation that I feel like we've seen this before in non-Star Trek media. I think we've seen this a million times. The mother has a mental illness. She is, paranoid, schizophrenic. She's delusional, and it's fun sometimes, and then it's not fun sometimes. And the father did his best to deal with it, but the son, who is now an old man, he understands intellectually that it was a bad situation, but he still has those feelings as a child of seeing his father, cage, entrap her like a monster in a fairy tale. And that's his Jungian kind of interpretation of what happened. All right, Ella, what's it say?
Nothing.
I told you.
Yeah.
Goodness.
I told you it says nothing.
So she had a turbulent relationship with her husband.
Turbulent. Yes.
Yeah.
And
it says, while Jean-Luc had long assumed this was due to some form of abuse on the part of Maurice, he later realized that it was due, at least in part, to severe mental illness on Yvette's part, which she refused to treat. However, earlier I was going to be like, it's either suicide or, spouse aside, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's spouse aside. We're not going to have that.
I don't know.
We're not going to have that in Picard's past. There's no way.
I don't know.
So I don't mean to be like the canon pedant. He means to be the canon pedant. But so when he sees her in Where No Man Has Gone Before, is he just imagining what she would be like as an old lady? Does she make it to a mature age?
It's weird
At
because
this point, it doesn't matter because that show's over 30 years old. Who cares? I get it, but Gary Sevens is in this show, so clearly somebody cares. This is like part 2 of the mental illness, mental health conversation because, again, I think I
just wanted you to stop right there. I want you to be like, this is part 2 of the mental illness.
And I don't do anything. Because I do think, what Gene Roddenberry thought. He thought there'd be a laser that just fixed everybody's brain, right? And then, I think that's...
It's called ketamine.
I obviously, bad idea. That's an immature way to look at mental health. So we want to have, realistic depictions of mental health. We want to believe that... Well, we don't want to believe, but we know that in the future, people are going to have mental health problems. It's just the way that it is. And so it's okay to tell this kind of story. But I can't believe that in the 24th century, the solution is lock her in a room. I know that this is Picard's view as a child, but there are no psychiatrists in the future. Nobody can help her. There isn't very advanced drugs to help people who have mental illness. What
she refused to treat it, right?
Yeah. But I am kind of bothered that his dad's solution was, well, she's having an episode, or she's being disruptive, or she's feeling, I don't know what was going on, but like,
I will chase my wife down and grab her.
I will grab her. It'll be traumatic for my son and for my wife.
But you don't understand.
And I will lock her in a room.
You don't understand. His foot broke through a thing, so he was in a lot of trouble.
Oh my gosh!
And it also like they added that it was like it was going to flood or something. What was the reason that like he was? They had some line about how like, oh no, this was really dangerous somehow, even though it didn't really seem all that dangerous. And also
the tunnels are really dangerous. I guess it's some sort of. Yeah, I don't know. I know they said something about it was like a labyrinth.
Mentally ill people can unlock locks.
Well, you're absolutely right.
Yes.
I think
I couldn't tell what I thought, that his reality was sort of blurring between his little fairy tale thing and also then this actual event of him chasing after his mom. So I wasn't really taking it as like, I was taking it with a grain of salt as far as like what actually happened.
Well, his foot actually went through the thing, because that we see that with the reality. But she was encouraging him to, they were playing, they were making believe, and he didn't realize, that she was kind of believing some of it or taking it too seriously. This is what sci-fi is for, but like, man, the hats are stacked to the moon, aren't they? Like, you want to tell a story about a elderly man who is 100 years old, who is recovering memories about his mother's, mental illness, and the abuse that he perceived that she endured at the hands of his father, who he has resented his entire life. His father went in the ground and that wasn't resolved. And all this is happening while they are in the past of an alternate Nazi future in a free clinic, while he's in a robot body and a Romulan agent, a supervisor, is using a thing to go into his mind, Inception style. Like, this is a hat shop. This is a haberdashery.
Yeah.
If you want to have a moment like this for this character that we love, and we want to add like new things to his character sheet, if you will, it's like, there's just so much going on. Oh, and by the way, James Callis is there, and he's a psychologist, because we're doing there's like a movie or a TV show or something. It's kind of like the MASH episode. You guys seen the last episode of MASH, right?
I don't think so.
With the chicken?
Actually, I don't know.
A guy crying about a chicken and a baby? I thought this was a comedy show, right?
Chicken and a baby?
Look it up later.
I remember the season 3 finale of MASH.
Whoa. I don't. What happens?
Well, the guy dies. They're like, go home, and then his plane goes down.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then I tell everybody.
Yeah.
Real sad stuff.
Got to get rid of that guy.
Oh, no.
It was real bad.
So anyway, here's my main criticism. I think all these things can fit into Star Trek. I think that they all belong in Star Trek. There's just so many of them, and they are all executed so perfunctorily that we just keep flitting from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing. And I don't think that they're executed like, strongly.
Well, my thing is like, okay, so we're doing this whole stuff with Picard's past and his mom and his dad.
Yeah.
But then like, how does he react to it in the present day? Does his view of his parents change? And I don't really feel like he really talks about it at all. Like, not even with Talon. And I kind of just like, I would like to see him, if it's important for us to see this to understand his character more.
Yeah.
Then I would like to see him deal with it.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's not, we could see that.
Maybe we'll see that in later episodes.
Yeah.
I hope so.
And I don't think that you would think like, look at everything that he's been through. And of course it's revealed that we'll be seeing the TNG crew return in season 3 of Picard. And I don't want to say like that it's too late. Like it's too, you're too old. Sorry, you can't have resolution and closure over these issues because you're too old.
Haha, Grandpa.
But I do think,
Oh, no.
Suffer, Grandpa. Go to bed.
No.
Get out of the way of the Tesla.
But I do think that it would be. This is where I think it's going. I think that him getting closure about and understanding that will help him, fix, quote unquote, or assist his ancestor. Because otherwise, you're right. It doesn't have why are we learning all this now? Like, you know, clearly he made an entire life, regardless of the fact that he thought that his dad was a monster from a movie. What'd you guys think about the?
Yeah,
I could tell this one wasn't directed by Frakes. I kind of wish Frakes got a stab at this because I was not impressed by the spooky haunted house castle set. I kept expecting like Sylvia and Korob and the cat to come around. Like it had maybe they were going for a very cat's paw kind of look to it, but it just kind of seemed kind of cheap. And isn't this show supposed to have like virtual like walls and environments and things? Do they spend all the money on Discovery? Like it seemed kind of cheap.
Should we have a sidebar about Mission Chicago again?
go for it.
Yeah.
The NFT people.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Holodeck.
Yeah. Less said the better, but yeah.
Well, the less said about NFTs, the better. But the booth was crazy.
What pays for the booth?
I did
NFTs.
leer at the booth. I was like, well, it looks like the holodeck, and that makes me want to go in there. But also NFTs.
I didn't go, and I just leered in at it.
Yeah, right, exactly. I didn't even step onto the carpet. I was like, nope,
Me
not
neither.
setting into
When I went
the
to the
area.
bathroom, I was like
Do you
looking.
guys-
It's so.
Quick poll. Here's a surprise Discoverage poll. TNG holodeck or Voyager, post TNG holodeck.
Ooh,
I know which way Lower Decks wants to go, but it's up to you.
that's really tough because if it's a Voyager holodeck, does that
Or
mean that
Hollow
the
Suite. Or Hollow Suite.
Right? Does that mean that the Doctor could
No,
show
I-
up?
Okay, all right. Sorry. Will it look like this? With the walls, will they be
Oh.
straight a grid?
TNG holodeck.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
Ella?
That's just where I go.
What? I can't see them in my head. Which one has the grid?
TNG.
TNG.
I think I like the grid.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm kind of getting out of the grid. I think I'm starting
those
to.
like light panels for the thing
Oh,
at the
she
convention.
can't stop talking about the NFT thing. What?
I thought it was so fascinating. I don't buy NFTs.
NFTs, not even
But-
once.
Dare to resist the Star Trek NFTs.
What's your anti-NFT?
They had the thing down in like an hour.
That's
Like
impressive
all of it,
too.
it was like packed. It was like I went to pee and I came out of the bathroom and it was like all of it was gone except for the very top. And they told me, my coworkers told me it took them like
They're pros.
12 hours to set it up on Wednesday.
Okay. Well, they learned from setting it up. I think I'm more of a Voyager guy now because it looks, I don't know, I feel like it looks like an apparatus that could create all these things. I mean, it's sci-fi. Who cares? Somebody mentioned, and it's a great point. I never thought about it. You know the episode, The Offspring, where Data creates a Lal, his daughter.
Yes.
And inadvertently 2 seasons of Picard that we've been watching. And
Yeah.
and apparently
Continues to create his progeny.
Yeah, Lal. This Lal before when Lal is they. Lal goes to the holodeck and they're trying to decide like what they want to look like, and apparently it takes a long time. And there's a jump cut where Troy is kind of like asleep, and whoever she's with, Geordi or whoever's like, hey, wake up, Lal's figured out what they want to look like, and I was like, she's in the holodeck, and why is she sitting on the floor? She could just make a chair. They're in the holodeck.
It's the vibes.
She's like laying on the, she's sitting up against the thing, and it's just make a chair. You're in the holodeck. I don't know, whatever.
Wanted to express just how incredibly
uncomfortable,
long it
how
was
long she'd been
taking.
there. Well, they never face down like on the ground. I don't know if I can even go on. There's plenty more to talk about. Thoughts
I have
about
a different
monsters?
question. I have a vibe check for you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bring it on.
I love the lesbians, but what do we think about Seven and Rafi's on-screen chemistry?
I think it's fine. I think it's hilarious, and by hilarious I mean incredibly frustrating that not only are they not giving any space or oxygen to this storyline, they are like mocking us by having them talk about how great it would be if we explored this storyline. So they're like, oh, we're so great. Like, we're the real story here. This is great. Oh boy, you want to see what we're like when we're together? Cut to next scene. And it's just like, is it fan service, or are you going to explore these characters? Because I get them jumping, 6 months. They're going to have a great relationship. End of season 1. Season 2, they're broken up and kind of mad at each other. That's a trope. It'd be great to have a show that was just them falling in love and doing crime and being gay and stuff like that. But like, for the purpose of the show, I get that you cut to the end of their relationship because they did it twice. They did it with Rios and Girardi as well. And so that's all fine. But now we here now. So can we see this relationship, or is it just going to be these two odd coupling all over 21st century LA?
I just find them to have absolutely zero. Like, did they do a chemistry test before they were like full send on Queer 7? You know what I mean? I find them to be just like uncomfortably lacking in any kind of, it's, you know what I finally saw the Batman, and I hate to say it, but Catwoman and Batman, nothing. Robert, whatever they did, whatever kind of actor, whatever they were running with Robert Pattinson and what's her name who played Catwoman this time around?
Oh gosh,
Zoe.
Yeah, Zoe Kravitz. Just absolutely zilch.
Yes.
Zilch. And then I watch Picard, and I'm like, there's just nothing. There's not even when they're fighting. It's when like couples are fighting on a TV show, and it's like, mom and dad are fighting, mom and mom are fighting, and it has like a vibe.
Yes.
There are no vibes. I'm thinking zero thoughts.
Do you think? All right, goodbye, Star Trek.
You.
We're talking about Batman now. Are you?
I guess the bat's out of the bag.
Are you? We didn't need that. Are you pro-sex Batman or anti-sex Batman?
What? What?
Do you see your Batman as sexual or as an asexual, monster of the night, a dark protector?
Is this
blah,
like
blah.
a debate that people have?
Yes. Yes.
This is like ingrained in people, whether Batman is asexual.
There's the
Batman is sex positive.
Yes, there is the kind of. Frank Miller's the best example. Like the Dark Knight Returns Batman, the good soldier. I know 16 ways to cripple this punk. 3 of them hurt and 6 kill or something. Where he's just like the only thing he thinks about is the crusade, right? And then there's Harry Lovegod Batman, and that's like Batman with like the deep V or like no shirt, and he's like walking around and he's
no shirt.
Yes, yeah, he's the one.
I'm not aware of this.
He's he's Talia al Ghul is his lover, Damien is his child. He can be a boyfriend. Okay. He has romantic feelings, and like most cinematic Batman are pretty asexual, antiseptic Batman if you look at it.
But not Bruce Wayne.
Christian Bale had no chemistry with any of his female co-stars.
Yeah.
Val Kilmer is like one of the sexiest dudes on earth. Nicole Kidman, same for girl. They put them together, nothing. And I think it's mostly because Val Kilmer as Batman he was getting a lot of like directions, but he was also like thinking, no, I'm Batman. Like the whole thing is like, I'm not going to be romantic and stuff like that. So there isn't a lot of romantic Batman.
I guess, but it's kind of like you want, if there's supposed to be some sort of connection, like Catwoman and Batman are supposed to have a connection in the Batman. That's what they wrote.
And Ella doesn't think that they do.
I kind of agree, honestly. I don't really see it either.
I'm just gonna need like 5 business days to process everything that Aaron just said about the Batmans.
I know the Flash is back here, but I've thought a lot about Batman in my life. I'll say one more thing.
I want to see at the beginning of The Incredibles, when you don't really know, you don't know that Mrs. Incredible you don't know that Elastigirl and Mr. Incredible are late for their wedding, but it's like, ooh, they're talking on the roof. What are they late for? Do they flirt all the time? And then it's like, oh, it's their wedding, and you're like, yeah, that's what I wanted.
So I
haven't gotten it from the Batman or from Seven and Ravi, frankly.
So you want the committed relationship, the commitment, but also the kind of fun.
I'm not prepared to make a statement at this time about what I want regarding the Batman.
All right. Well,
I think that's fair.
I agree with you, Ella, but I think that it is intentional on the part of the filmmaker. I think that they want their Batman to be kind of a greasy incel because Riddler and all of his little army is a foil for him as a crime fighter, and he realizes, I don't want to end up like these guys. I got to be different. And I think that 100%. the sort of the lack of like sparks that we get when Catwoman and Batman rub together is part of, you know, that's a feature, not a bug. And when we get to the end and they're saying goodbye to each other because Catwoman's leaving, slight spoilers for the end of Batman, and Batman is like, well, I got to do what I do still. And she's like, well, all right, we'll see. And he goes to kiss her. This whole time she's been kissing him, and he goes to kiss her, and she doesn't kiss him. And then they get on their bikes, and they drive away. And instead of it being over, they kind of drive together for a little bit. And this is like...
That was a nice scene.
This is the most that
really
they can have at this point. They can share this thing that they do together, this fighting at night. And then they, you know, they do the Fast and the Furious, and they go different directions. And they see each other in the rearview mirror, and you see him look back, and for a second he's like, I could be with her, but I got to be Batman. That's your Batman. Are we done?
You've really been analyzing Batman.
Yeah.
That was like a full thesis.
Check out my YouTube channel.
Well, I would like to see it on the laser lunch hour, frankly.
Oh, okay. Well, I could do that. Talk about Batman all
I would
day.
Do you know the guy on YouTube that does an appropriately unhinged recap of blank?
No.
And he's done like an appropriately, and Mike's Mike. He's done unappropriately unhinged recap of Pretty Little Liars, and he just started doing Glee.
Okay, no, I'm gonna check.
So
that
what
out.
I want from you is an appropriately unhinged recap of the Batman movies, because I've seen 2 Batman movies. Would you like to guess what they are? You know one, so you have to guess one.
Ooh.
1989? Batman 1989?
No.
66?
Yeah, I think that's it. Adam West Batman?
Yeah, okay.
Nice.
Yes.
Great. Those are 2 of the best.
That's my Batman.
Those are 2 of the best.
I love Adam West Batman.
It's so good. If you take away nothing from our Star Trek podcast, let it be. Watch Adam West's Batman.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
I used to watch it all the time when I was sick as a little kid. It was comfort food. Yeah.
Yes. When he's running with the bomb, it's there's the geese, and there's the kids. He's got those white eyebrows drawn on.
Yeah, like a surprised face. Yeah, well, anyway, Star Trek.
So
when Warner Discovery acquires
who's the
Paramount.
Batman, who's the Catwoman?
Of Raffi and Seven?
I was going to say this. And with 2 strong female co-hosts, I didn't know if it was a good idea to say. But I think maybe one of the problems that we have is that they're very similar as characters. They're kind of the same character, only one's a Borg.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing.
No,
but
that
makes
no.
If they were on different shows, it would be fine. But they're kind of.
I won't cancel you for that.
They're kind of the same, and I think that like if you want to explore their relationship, you can explore the idea that they're the same. That's a thing, but the show just refuses to explore it. I don't know why. I have some ideas why.
There's no time.
Yeah,
they're saving the world.
Are you guys creeped out that Picard's mother is a redhead?
No.
I mean,
really? Because
what are we suggesting here?
He exclusively dates redheads.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Well, now I feel weird now that you said it specifically.
Oh, sorry.
Now I'm not sure. Now I feel like, but when you asked me if Batman was asexual, I'm feeling confused, uncertain.
I take it all back. Okay, we teased it before. We're going to talk about it now. Can a 90-year-old robot man get hit by an electric car, and be fine? And the answer is yes. He just needs some time to think about it, and he's fine.
He just needs some time to go over his trauma.
Do you feel like they wrote that Picard would get hit by a car because that's a scary thing to happen, and then halfway through went, oh, he's a robot. Well, this robot can get hit by a car. Do you think that maybe that was happening at all?
Because I think he needed to get his little robot head bonked so he would process his trauma, right?
Yeah. Do all Soong android bodies have a built-in therapist? That's a good question.
That is a good question. And then also, I noticed that his blood was red.
Oh no! Like I get, like I understand. Like it was the same thing with like Soji and Dodge. Like they're more human than Data. He doesn't have their super strength or like their powers or whatever. Like I get that he's a robot, but he's a frail old man. But there's all these things where they're hooking him up to machines, and they literally take him to like a clinic and a hospital, and there's a doctor character, and like we don't. This is the thing that I wasn't going to look up from before. We just need one thing where they go, don't worry, his body's programmed to have regular biosigns or something like that. Or, I know they did the thing with the
defibrillators,
paddles, but I didn't really get what was going on there, and I don't know what the stakes of old robot hit by a car are. Like I don't know what the stakes are, and if you don't have stakes, it's just a salad bar. That's something that the guys on ABCDTOS say.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's just like you said. I mean, I think that they just needed him to hit his head, and so they're like, well, how could he hit his head?
That's dumb, though.
Data will hit him with his Tesla, and then I agree it's dumb, but they wrote backwards, and they didn't find something better. And they're like, oh, he'll push Renee out of the way, so he's the hero. And, I
don't think they wrote backwards. You overused that phrase, co-host of mine.
Oh, all right.
I think they
did.
I think they knew they wanted Picard to get hit by a car because that's the biggest danger they can get in when they're just walking around going to astronaut parties.
Maybe Elon Musk paid them too much for a second Tesla shot.
We're talking
and
about.
they were like, you want another one? Fine.
We're talking about.
We're gonna have it hit one of our most beloved characters.
Yeah, and then it'll hit Captain Picard. Happy now, idiot.
Nice.
Yeah. You're gonna go to space.
We're talking about Star Trek 4 soon on Enterprising Individuals, and it's one of the few examples of modern product placement in a film. They drink Michelob beer or something like that, and the Yellow Pages.
Yes.
And so the Tesla thing was weird, although they don't never say Tesla. You just have to sort of infer it's a Tesla. But there's
I clocked that logo right away.
Yeah. But there's a long shot again with just it's Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. I mean, it's Seven and Raffi, and behind them is like a Wells Fargo building, and I mean, like it's just
and a Nordstrom building.
Oh, I didn't see that one. Okay, good eye.
Yeah, it was like half the logo.
So
I
those
feel like they
brands
just want to be like, it's really LA.
Right, but with all their budget, like you think they could just go and just like erase that like from the building real fast.
Well, you think Wells Fargo's going down in 2 years?
Well, I don't.
Nordstrom's going out of business in 2 years.
I don't want to think about the implications of the Wells Fargo corporation existing in Star Trek. Okay, last big twist.
Well, they haven't gotten rid of the money yet. You need a bank.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They're still using money. We got to get some. I'll sell these glasses. Let's talk about the final scene, which honestly just seemed like it probably could have been the first scene of the next episode, but they did it in this one anyway, where we get a little more about Guinan and her war with the Qs and the very fairy tale-esque. I thought of Neil Gaiman when she was taking it's very Gaiman-esque.
Yeah.
We made this truce.
I think
but,
so too.
The moment was captured in this bottle, and so you must open it, and you have to drink, the bitterness of this that went into this treaty.
Me every time I throw a dinner party.
And then she's like, "It didn't work." And then they cut to another scene, and they come back and they go, "Boy, I don't know, it just didn't work." It's like, what? All that for that?
Wasn't that sus though? Weren't you? What? Yes. I was like, Q's inside of Guinan. Q's got her. I don't know why, but I was like, Q's got her.
Q was the liquid. I'm in you.
When the actor came down, the character, yes. Agent Wells.
Yes.
I was like, he's a Q, because she said,
like, there he is.
Yeah, right.
And going back to my Supernatural days.
But
right,
is he? Because, as I'm sure you guys know, that actor Jay Carnes has appeared in Star Trek previously. He was in an episode called Singularity. I don't remember what it was called, but it's the one where the time ship kidnaps Seven and Janeway to go back in time and fix a thing, and it's got the guy from Time Cop in it, And so is he in this because he is that character, Duquesne, or is it because he's a guy that plays cops a lot?
I mean, it's got to be on purpose, right? They're not just going to cast a guy that's too specific.
Mika, she set you up. Take it down. Take it down.
I don't know.
No, come on. This is your bit. Do your bit.
I don't know what my bit is.
You do. You pointed out, you said to me before we started recording that the agent's name is Agent...
Oh, right.
If you're going to forget your bits, I don't know.
I mean, that's right.
Yes.
I didn't know what my bit was.
I think, and once again, the internet's going insane. I don't know how this is even going to work now, because there wouldn't be a 27th, 29th. I don't remember what century it was. There wouldn't be time ships from the future, but I think that he is. We saw this in that Voyager episode. The one guy got stuck, in the 90s because of the change they made. So I think that Agent Wells is Duquesne, but he has been here. He got stuck here and has been here and has either faked an identity to be a federal agent, or he is somehow like using the forces of the federal agents to say, like, Picard, come on, fix this so I can go back.
Oh,
even though they literally already did that in
tinfoil hat.
Where's
now that people can see our faces, we should make them.
Where's Ed Begley Jr.? That's what I don't know. Where is he?
Yeah, right.
He pulls up in his electric car. I think that we have done all the damage that we could possibly do up to this point. What do you?
I mean, think? I think I could do some more damage, but I'll hold back.
That's good of you. I appreciate that. So we'll see what happens next week. Did we go through theories? We already talked about who is getting left behind. I don't think anybody's going to die. You guys think anybody's going to die? Got a lot of characters.
There's certainly a dumping coming, right? Like you said.
A dumping?
Yeah, Seven and Raffi, right?
Oh. You think they're going to... Okay.
I mean... they're just fighting the whole time, right? So yeah,
but that's love on these shows, right?
Just bickering old ladies.
Yeah, I'm not sure how
I didn't write it.
Feel about it. Yeah, they could have given them way more interesting things to do and just like written and like given them better ways to interact with each other besides getting each other coffee. And like, why are they the two always looking for people? And then like
they really are.
Seriously, everybody else is doing stuff and they're just trying to keep everybody together.
Most of their scenes are all like location shots. So, you've got Picard is on set with Allison Pill, and then you just put Raffi and they're not their names, and Jerry Ryan in a car and just drive them around LA and just,
send them down, yeah.
Well, and then like Raffi keeps saying Elnor, but like not like a whole lot. It's like they're just doing it like once an episode to just kind of like remind you. But I almost want them to do more with it.
Yeah.
Or not do it at all, because it's just a little bit.
You should
or like see her dealing with it. You know,
that's what I was going to say.
You should have asked Evan of Agora last weekend, like, are you going to be in season 2 at all, or will we see more in season 3?
Was this the first episode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel bad.
Hopefully I feel really bad too.
Yeah. I hope he gets another job somewhere else where he actually gets to be on screen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, damage is done. So we'll have to repair the time stream on another episode, because that's it for this week. We are moving on, but thanks for joining us, listeners. If you like what you hear, you can follow us on Facebook. We talk about this stuff all the time. Batman included too on some of the shows on the Just Enough Trope Network. Go to Twitter, EISTPOD, to get updates when we go live, and when episodes of both Enterprising Individuals and this show, Discoverage, are published. And you can tweet to us on the show by using the hashtag Discoverage, or email us at eistpod@gmail.com. Discoverage will return next week on April 21st at 8 p.m. for the 8th episode of Star Trek Picard's second season. 3 episodes left. We don't know anything about the episode. We'll be here to cover it. And we'll be going live once again at 8 p.m. Central, so join us then. In the meantime, you can check out our main show, Enterprising Individuals, which you can find at enterprisingindividuals.com. Every week on the show, I and a special guest discuss in excruciating detail a selected movie from the Star Trek universe. We're doing movies on the show this year. We also have news from the Trek sphere and interviews with special guests. Our latest episode just dropped, and on it, I'm joined by Mikan Hana, and also the co-host of Backtrekking, Gooey Fame, from a hotel room in Chicago, where we discuss our definitive rankings of the Star Trek films, 1 to 13, but in 3 different orders. So you can check that out at enterprisingindividuals.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Ella, thanks as always for joining me to talk about Star Trek Picard, and tell people where they can find you online.
Thank you. Like I said, I do work with our bestie Frage over at Star Trek Unlimited. And given that we were just at the convention, I think I'll plug that this week. I don't usually. So we're at Trek Limited on Twitter and Star Trek Unlimited everywhere else. And he hired me and he said, do you want to like talk to people about Star Trek on the internet? And I was like, that can be a job. That doesn't have to be just like what I do in my business. Like, should I start monetizing it?
Yeah.
So that's where I am. And yeah.
Awesome. And Mika, it's always great to have you on the show. And what's coming up?
Thank you for having me.
Where can people find you online?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Mikan Hana and at justenough.com.
And what is coming up on Just Enough Trope?
Yeah, so we haven't done a comic book in a while. So this week we're going to do a comic book, and we're looking forward to the Doctor Strange release at the beginning of May. So we are reading Triumph and Torment, Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom. I am really excited. I have no idea what this is about, but just the title, I am there for it.
The Doctors together again for the first time.
Yes.
Often thought of as like one of the best Doctor Strange stories. He has to share it with Doctor Doom, but I didn't write it. But anyway, look forward to that. You can find Just Enough Trope at Just Enough Trope on Twitter. You can find all the podcasts on the Just Enough Trope network at Just Enough Trope on Twitter. That is it for us. Thanks for listening, and we are signing off until next week. This is Aaron for Ella and Mika saying, live long and prosper.